What's up and good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. Today is part 3 of the Rhino Ranch underground, let's not make it look too ghetto, pool project. This morning the guys went ahead and got all of our 2x12s buried, and just to kind of get you guys all caught up. In the previous video we excavated this entire area to get it nice and flat for the pool. The whole goal is that the pool, once we build the deck out from that wall right there, it basically looks flush and kind of built into the yard. We're then going to take decks out on both sides, well, all 4 sides I should say. There'll be walls that kind of come down, giving it sort of a built-in look and less of an ugly sided pool look that you see. So this morning the guys went ahead and recessed all of these 2x12 pressure treated pads, and that's what the weight of the legs are going to sit on. Once we put the water in, unless you're putting this on concrete, you need to do this because the legs are very skinny, as you can see, and so they don't disperse the pressure very well, and they'll just dig into whatever surface you're on. So you need these pads to help kind of disperse some of the weight so the legs don't dig in and then drop the side of your pool. Will it work? We're gonna find out. Now they're going ahead and cleaning the slope where all of the plants are that we took out. The next step really is, once this is clean, is we gotta start kind of figuring out our post layout for our deck. I've never really built a deck. I'm not a framer by trade, so I'm just gonna kind of make it up as I go. There's probably gonna be some hokey stuff in there, but she will be strong. We know that. It just might not be the, I guess, exact way that a deck builder would build a deck. We're gonna have to put some posts down here. It's gonna get a little bit funky. Maybe we keep them up there and we just cantilever out like 3 or 4 feet. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But the good news is, I think we are finally ready to start putting some water in this thing and working all the wrinkles out of it. This whole dang pool has been a lot of work. This 90-minute installation time that it says on the box is definitely not very accurate. I'm doing my final checks before we start adding the water, making sure the drain plugs are both tight. Probably gonna take us 2 days before we get up to there to worry about it, but not really sure. Yesterday I went ahead and put together the old rickety ladder that this thing comes with. This is what I think of when I think of above ground pools. I hate everything about stuff like this. Obviously this is just temporary to use now while we're putting the pool together, but I'm gonna climb inside this thing, kick out some of the wrinkles the best that I can, try and get these legs all nice and straight and some weight on them, and then we're gonna go to filling. Now obviously the less wrinkles the better, especially if we're gonna be running a pool vacuum in here. You don't want it to have a bunch of wrinkles and stuff that it's gonna get caught on, so we're gonna try to kick all of these wrinkles out. Something's a little funky about this corner that I don't really like. Kind of extra wrinkly over here. I feel like I should bring in a carpet guy for this. Carpet guys are excellent at getting wrinkles and stuff out of floor. Ain't looking too bad right now. Once the water's in, we're kind of stuck. She is what she is at that point. I don't see anything that's gonna change by walking around here anymore, so let's just start getting some water going. Listo, Evo! Listo. So the directions say fill your pool up with 1 inch of water and see if it's level. And if it's not, drain it and then regrade out your crown. I don't know who's got the patience for that, but it ain't me. I will say, chasing these wrinkles out is probably one of the more annoying parts. Down there is kind of funky. I'm hoping with a little bit more water in here, it's gonna make it easier. This side's got a couple little wrinkles. The water kind of pushes them down, and then giving her the old donkey kick. Oh geez, we just popped a corner out. These corners not locking in. While I understand the principle and why they did it, they are a pain in the freaking butt. There we go. Okay. Now, because I like to get ahead of comments, I'm just gonna say it now because somebody's gonna say it. I did think about bringing in a water truck. Now, obviously to bring water from town, way too expensive, not worth it. For 15,000 gallons, that would be, you know, even on a 4,000 gallon water truck, you know, that's a lot of trips. I also contemplated, you know, if I could borrow James's water truck. However, I believe his water truck's getting worked on, and or the one that he has got a decently rusty tank, so I feel like it's probably not best put a bunch of rusty-ish water into the pool, and then the filter's got to work extra hard, and who knows how long it takes till it cleans all that stuff out. So yes, I've thought of other methods to fill this quicker, but I think we just gonna do it with the old garden hose. I might run 2 of them. Thought about renting a water truck, but that's like $600 to $800. So let's just, you know, take her slow. We ain't in no hurry. What's the hurry? It's only gonna be 100 and something degrees today. And just for my record purposes, it is 9:40 a.m. We've been going for about 20 minutes on the fill there. Let's see how long this takes. I know it's gonna be days, but let's just see how long it takes. And while that's getting filled up, we should probably figure out the pump setup. I brought another hose in here. Obviously, we're kind of, you know, restricted by what's coming into the house to the spigots. However, the hoses are also restricting our flow. I don't have like a big 3-inch hose just to run directly off the water tank and gravity feed it, but So this will have to. But let's start cracking open these boxes. What do we got here? We've got a genuine made in China. Okay, okay. This is 126/648. Perfect, just what I ordered. Now forgive me if I'm backwards on here. I'm not a pool guy, but I believe we've got the pump, we've got the sand filter, and then I don't know what this booger is. Maybe that's the pump. Oh, that's another strainer basket. Maybe there's three. Oh no, there are indeed three hoses. Oh, they snuck one inside the filter. There's a hose down in there. Now my plan is to hardline all this with PVC. I don't want to use these plastic hoses. You guys see what happens to hoses. Eventually, enough sun, they get all kinds of damage, and then they crack, and then they leak everywhere. For now, we'll probably just use this to get up and going. I know there's a couple of proprietary fittings that like Home Depot's not gonna sell. So I just need to go do a little bit more research on the Intex pool forums, order those pieces on Amazon. That way, when I go to do it, I can do it all at once. Now to set all this stuff on, if you've ever had a real pool, you typically have that setting on a concrete pad. Well, here, we don't have a concrete pad. However, the house came with this random, like 3 foot by 3 foot piece of concrete that I've been using just to set my brush cutter on top of. And it used to be up against the house. I kind of pulled it away. Something sat on it. I don't know what, back in the day. But that's gonna be ideal to set right here and set all of the pool equipment on. Okay, let's see if we can move the brush cutter without actually having to hook it up. Well, that pad's perfect. It almost looks like it's 3 by 4. It's pretty close to it. I'll have to rest you on my knee, see if we can hook this and not damage anything. Like the guys with the tilt rotators with the little gripper thing on the back. Now let's pick this piece of concrete up and hopefully not damage it. We still have the forks on the Coyote if we need to bring that over. Ooh, she a little bit heavy. I just don't want her to break. Oh, we're bringing some buckets with us. All right, we're just gonna slowly walk her over like this. Okay, we've got a little better system going now. We got it resting on the backfill blade and the bucket. I feel a lot more confident moving this a little bit quicker. I got pretty far for just holding one little side of it. This concrete's, it's old. Older concrete is, I don't know, if you've ever broken out really old concrete, that stuff was strong, unlike some of the stuff that we pour nowadays. Nice and steady, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. Woo. All right, we are pretty close to touchdown. Kind of slide her a little bit closer. But we've managed to get about, we'll call that 3 inches of water in, let's check our time, 10:30. I gotta say though, getting these stubborn wrinkles out of the liner is, I don't know, I must not have the technique down. This is my first ever above ground pool build, but God, is it frustrating trying to get these out. And I've only got so much time. I mean, we might already be past the time having 3 inches of water in here, but the more weight we add and the more water we add, the harder it's gonna be to kind of kick out the liner on the sides. So I was hoping maybe a little bit more weight would help me, but man, there are some stubborn wrinkles in here. Like you can't see them once the water's in here, but they don't feel great on your feet. And then when we run the vacuum that we're gonna be getting for this, it's not gonna enjoy going over ripples on the bottom. You want a nice smooth bottom to get a really good clean vacuum job. Well, y'all, we had our first casualty. My GoPro decided to go for a swim, and while GoPros are waterproof, the external mics are not necessarily waterproof. So thankfully I have backups on backups, other than I don't have a backup external mic anymore because I used my backup. So we're on a new GoPro, but with just the factory mic, so hopefully the sound is decent. Luckily it's not too windy today, so we should be good. Now we're working on the deck layout, and again, I don't build decks. I've never really built a deck, not a framer, so trying to wrap my mind around where to put our posts for the deck is like, I don't know. My brain doesn't work in framer speak. And then we've got Gunner outside. He's coming out to supervise today, making sure everything's going good, right buddy? Oh, you're just looking for a toy, that's all you're doing. So I just used my educated guessing skills on where to put those posts for the deck. I don't really know until I start building it. That's just the way my brain works. Pool equipment set up over here. They don't give you very long hoses, and again, my plan is at some point to pull these hoses off and just hardline it with all PVC piping, so you don't have these hoses that are going to end up super brittle from the sun. Current check, we've been going for 2 hours and we have about 8 inches of water, maybe 9 inches of water. We're actually filling a lot quicker than I thought. My plan is to only run the water when it's daytime because the solar is powering the pressure tank on the well and obviously bringing the water up out of the well. So overnight, now we're paying for the electricity to pull the water out of the ground. Whereas during the daytime, it's all pretty free. So we'll go as far as I can today with the sunshine, which, you know, we still have another probably 7 hours of sunshine. And we'll see how far that gets us. Now I did go ahead and make the executive decision to shrink these 10-foot sides of decking down to 5 foot. By doing both sides, we're eliminating a decent amount of Trex decking. Trex decking is super expensive, and I've already priced out just this section right here, and it's like almost $5 grand, and that's using like the lower grade of Trex, not even the top of the line stuff. The top of the line stuff, Trex has like a little calculator on their website, and I just calced out for this section right here, the 12 foot by 52 foot, and they calced it out in just Trex to about $13,000, not including the actual framing lumber that we're going to use below. That's a little more than I want to spend. At that point, we're getting into like, we should have just done an in-ground pool. So we're going to keep it to 5 foot on the sides here, which will shrink this entire section and make this a little bit cheaper. If you visually look down over here, you can see we've got plenty of room for a nice big open deck area with, you know, some lounge chairs and whatever we want to put right here. There's just tons of space for it. 12 foot by, let's see if we're taking off 10 feet total, 12 foot by 42 is still a really big size deck. Really all I need the sides for is to be able to walk around the pool, you know, with either nets or whatever to clean the pool, just get access to all 4 sides. So far we're making great progress over here, and you'll see why we're going to swap this out too. It just looks kind of crappy with all these random hoses running everywhere. Well, I was inside not even paying attention. I noticed HYPERLITE in the tractor. Let's see, he's trying to throw the pallet with the box into the dumpster. Can he do it? Oh, look at that. Impressive. And now HYPERLITE's out being a Zamboni driver, dragging the blade back there and knocking all the weeds and stuff down. I've pretty much got my layout here. Again, not really knowing exactly what the heck I'm doing, but just kind of guesstimating. Went 4 foot off of those legs, and I believe the pool ends up being almost a foot off of it by the time the water pushes this side out. I hate that we're playing a guessing game with that, but we're playing a guessing game with that. This side I went 3 foot off, so this will be hopefully a 4 foot deck, 5 foot deck, 5 foot deck, and then the big 12 foot deck over there. Again, I'm gonna say it like 52 times in this video. Not a deck builder, have never built a deck. I know the framing into a deck gets really like different and really intricate depending on how you're putting your Trex decking on top. Out here, we just don't have cheaper decking options. I've looked everywhere. There's nowhere that has like good, cheap, like alternatives to Trex, because I know Trex does get hot in the summertime, but like back in the Midwest, you guys seem to have a lot more decking options. Same with fencing options. We already got a water feature going on here. You guys have much better fencing options as well than we do out here. You can see how much the pool is kind of caving in, and again, everywhere I've read instruction wise, this happens till the last little bit of water, and then it finally stands up to, I'm hoping, straight-ish. But it makes it really difficult to figure out where the edge of the pool is gonna hit for our post layout. So all of these are dug. Down here, I think I'm just gonna put concrete piers, those triangular things you see at Home Depot. That way we're not digging right on the edge of the pool. And then that'll be all of these posts to hold this side of the pool up. Everything on the exterior is going to get set in concrete and dug down. So all of these, all of those. I think this thing's gonna be anchored pretty solid. Well, we screwed up yesterday. Well, I screwed up, and I let the water tank drain all the way down, and we just lost all water pressure because the well can only keep up so much. You know, 2 hoses filling the big old pool. So it's as far as we got yesterday. Shut it off, shut down the operation, let the tank fill back up. Today, though, we've got us a load of lumber, and guys, I'm seriously considering shrinking this deck even more. This thing's adding up quick, and I've got another project we're about to start out here. On top of we got to finish the gate, or the fence and gate projects. It's become a very, very expensive month. Pool deck is like not the biggest priority in the world, and I hate to say that, because like a really big cool pool deck would be sick. We might shrink it down. I mean, what you're seeing right here, I've got these pier bases. There's 6 of those, not even as many as I need, plus just these 16-foot 2x8s, which are going to run this way, and then we still have to put our 12-foot 2x8s on top this way. I haven't even bought those, and that's the majority of the lumber, let alone the Trex decking that's going to go on top. But just what you see right here, which is nowhere near enough to do the whole thing, is already $700 worth of lumber. But first, there's a big like community yard sale that they do around here, and I figure, like, you know, everybody's been working really hard. Once we get the truck and trailer unloaded, I'm gonna take the guys over there. Abel loves yard sales. Chava loves, you know, finding cool tools and stuff like that. So we're gonna spend some of the morning going over to a yard sale and enjoying a little bit of our morning since we've been working our butts off for the last, you know, 5 days on this project. All right, we just got back from the community yard sale. Let's go check out what Chava got. He ended up picking himself up some chairs. We got some nice chairs. Look at that. We even got a little metal thing on the bottom. And then he got himself a Sawzall, Milwaukee, of course, and some brand new sawhorses. Yeah, these things are all numbered. I don't know what that means. Maybe they're antiques. They got enough spider webs on them to be antiques. Okay, now we're gonna get back to work. And again, I've probably prefaced this a million times. If you're a deck builder, look away. I'm just gonna make this up as I go. But my plan is we're gonna put our 4x4 posts in these holes. We're gonna inset them in concrete. Down here, I don't wanna dig a bunch of holes really close to the pool, so we're gonna use these concrete pier bases, and we'll just kind of adjust those to where we see fit. Then on top of these, I'm gonna run two 2x8s. They're only 8-foot spans in between each 4x4, so that a 2x8 should be plenty. 2x8, we can span 12-foot 6 as a floor joist. We're less than 12 feet here, so we're gonna go two 2x8s this way, and then on top of that, we're gonna lay out our 2x8 floor joists. So these basically act like our beams. I was gonna double them up and use the post brackets and all that, but I'm trying not to get too crazy with it. HYPERLITE has shown up with our pallet of concrete. And I don't want to try to lift the entire pallet off the truck because I don't know that the tractor can necessarily do it without getting tippy. I believe it's like maybe 2,000 pounds of concrete. I don't know, I haven't really sat there and done the math. But I imagine the Hyundai weighs around 2,000 pounds and that tipped the tractor. So we don't want to tip the tractor into HYPERLITE's 450. I've got an empty pallet on the tractor. We're just gonna put it right up next to it and we'll just transfer, you know, maybe half of the bags or whatever to the empty pallet and move it to where we're gonna be mixing. We did let the donkeys out of jail. We're gonna let them out, wander around. Anything that they can really screw up now, like we're good on. They're not gonna screw up our grade or anything like that. And then if we see them start to get near the pool, we can kind of shoot them away because we'll be here all day. Because we all know Willie. Willie's a splash all the water out of the pool kind of donk. Let's see, I think we're about a half a pallet. Okay, now we're putting our posts in, and again, we're gonna put these in long. We'll use the laser. These are gonna be the exact height of the pool, maybe just a hair higher. Our deck is gonna sit on top of these, and the deck needs to be a little bit past the edge of the pool. So we're basically gonna cantilever out. You can see our post bases here. So we're probably about, I don't know, by the time this pool pushes out and we're there, we're less than 2 feet that we're gonna cantilever over. And I want the edge of my deck to be just either a hair inside the pool or like exactly on the inside edge of the pool. So you really don't see this top edge. And you can see how crazy the pool kind of sucks in. So according to all the videos that I've watched on these pools, they're gonna look like they're falling apart until the last minute. Once the water gets up to the top, it pushes and everything kind of straightens itself back up. For this one, I'm mixing the concrete first. We're not just putting it in the hole dry and doing the fence guy trick. I want this to be a little more stout. I've never used these post bases for things. I've never been a big fan of them. I think they're kind of hokey, but again, I don't really want to dig big holes right on the edge of the pool. So I think this is going to work for now. I don't anticipate, again, us getting more than like 5 years out of this pool. I think even that's being a little bit optimistic. So the deck just needs to kind of last 5 years, and then we'll go from there and we'll reassess. Now that all the back posts are in, they're set in concrete. We're going to wait for those to tighten up a little bit before we put our 2x8s on them. I'm running down the center here now. You can see I've got that one on and this one on. I'm basically going to get all these nice and plumb. Then I'll run a string line and make sure they're pretty much in line with each other. Now, being that we're doing it the way I'm doing it, these boards can kind of be wherever they want, right? These don't need to be as exact. When we go to put our floor joists in, our 2x8s this way, that's when we can make sure things are exact. So if we were just to do the floor joist system and attach it to these 4x, we would need to be very, very exact from the get-go. Whereas by putting our beams this way, that's going to allow us to have more freedom when we're building the deck on top, because everything will be locked in down below, and the deck can kind of shift and adjust to where we need it. Then we'll lock it to the actual 2x8s going in this direction. Now for these post base, plumbing them up on both axes, this way and that way. And then I'm just using a 3-inch screw from now, and that'll come back in with larger hardware once we get everything in place. It's a pain in the butt to do one-handed. I don't know where HYPERLITE went. He disappeared, but it'd be great to have him hold this plumb. But we shall manage. So I like to get it plumb this way first. I'll put 2 screws in on the same side. Now that we're locked in on this axis, we can adjust this way forward and back. And because we didn't put any screws in on the other side, we still have plenty of play for this thing to move this way. But we're still locked in this way, and we know we're plumb. And hopefully you guys saw any of what I was trying to explain right there, because I know the camera was very close. We're actually pretty good. So we leveled the pier blocks first. Really, the only thing that's throwing us off is these factory cuts on the bottom of the 4x4s and the whatever crappy concrete work. I've now run a string line down to sight all of these to make sure they're in line with each other. Again, we have a little more leeway with these posts. However, when I go to put my 2x8s across these, I don't want one to kind of be out and the other one to kind of be in, because it makes it really funky. So they are all nice and in line. Next step is we're going to shoot our laser off the top of the pool. Again, I think I'm going to go a 1/2 inch higher. We're going to put that mark on all of these posts. Then from there, I'll put my 2x8s in place, and then I'll come through with the Sawzall and cut the tops of all of these 4x to that height. See guys, everybody benefits from the tractor now. Abel and Poppy, they make me elevate them up into the truck. Nobody wants to jump up into Paparano's truck. It's quite the climb. We'll lower them back down. I've gone around and I've marked all of the posts at a ½ inch above the height of the pool. And I'm using just our laser again that we've seen in previous videos. And that basically is projecting a level line all the way around the pool right now. And then I mark it on my 4x4s. The way you're supposed to do it is you're supposed to lop it off and put them on top so they're resting on top and the weight's resting on top, but there's not gonna be a ton of weight on this deck. We're spanning less than 12 feet. It really ends up being like 10 foot between 4x4s with a little cantilever and a little cantilever. And at most, maybe 15, 20 people spread out over this entire deck. We'll be okay with the weight riding on the sides of the 4x4s. And these are, you know, this is 5 foot spacing and then those are 8s. I definitely messed up on my spacing because I forgot about this little wing. So the wing's in a little bit of a weird spot. We'll make it work out. And again, it helps that we're doing these beam system first and then we'll do our floor system on top of it because this doesn't necessarily need to be perfect or exact. The floor system, we can kind of fudge some things for later. As long as our height here is perfect, we're good. So you're gonna go all the way to that next one probably. All right, and then we're gonna flip it, and then you're just gonna hold the top of the board to that line, all right? Okay. And then go to about halfway on your board. Okay. Well, we are making good progress, but we're kind of burning through my wood pile. I only grabbed so much. I'm a visual guy. I tried to draw it on paper. My ADD just like totally took me in a different space. So it's one of those things, I got to start building it. And then from here, I can get a material takeoff list to get a better, more accurate count. Without having like a set of plans, it's a little bit difficult, and at least for my brain, to kind of figure this stuff out. But we are looking very, very good. And this will give you an idea of kind of how the system is going to work. Again, we've got, I guess we're gonna call these our beams, then we got our floor joist system that's gonna sit on top of those. That'll be our 2x8s. That'll either be 16 on center or 12 inch on center. You can kind of do it either way. I know a lot of people say Trex needs to be 12 inches on center, but from what I read, you can do 16. So we'll figure that out when the time comes. And then they're gonna cantilever over, which means they're gonna overhang to just past the edge of the pool to where it looks like it's built in, right? I might come maybe to here by the time we put our little fascia decorative Trex board on the front. It should flush out with the edge of the pool. And we still got a little ways here. We're about a foot low on the water, maybe 14 inches before we see if this side's gonna push out. Hopefully it does, otherwise things are gonna get weird. But we're gonna come through, and I guess we don't really have to at this point, but probably end up just trimming all of the 4x4 so everything's nice and flush. But it should be a pretty solid deck. I mean, these things are anchored in 16 inches of concrete. I don't like setting things on piers, but once everything's locked together, she ain't going anywhere. And we've got 2 corners on it. It's gonna be a pretty solid setup. I still haven't decided what we're gonna do on the backside because it's just so much more money in Trex. But we're gonna put these posts in. And then worst case scenario, if I don't turn it into a deck, we'll just use this as fencing to keep the donkeys out. Best case scenario, we ended up decking on the backside. But that's a decision for later. We're gonna wrap up pretty much for today. Got a lot more lumber we gotta buy. You can see I didn't even buy enough to get like the stub structure done. I already spent a ton of money. We gotta buy way more than what I just bought. This is a bad idea. It's gonna be sick though, but this is a bad idea. Also, you can see, again, we know this wall slopes like this, so we're gonna be a little bit above the wall there and a little bit below the wall on that side. One of you guys suggested building like little planters to kind of hide that transition. It's been hot out. We've been in the sun for a while. I actually really like that idea, so maybe we'll end up building some little planters or something that kind of hide the fact that the wall and the heights are weird, or I don't know. A lot of decisions. The cool thing about this project though is it can kind of evolve. As we want to spend more money, we can do some more stuff to kind of trick it out. Getting the base in though, that's going to be obviously the biggest chunk of money and the most expensive. We've got big news, guys. Big news. The pool has officially straightened itself out. No longer does it have a big old boat inside. It's pretty dang parallel to where we're at. It's not too bad, and again, we're going to adjust that when we go to put our floor joists in, but that is huge. Pump is up and running. You can see the water kind of spitting out right there. In the process of adding the chemicals, we are going to be a saltwater pool, but you have to get your water right first. So we got to do all the chemical stuff first, get the water nice and balanced, and then from there we hook up the salt generator, kick that thing on, put all the salt in, and should be much easier maintenance than if we were to keep a traditional chlorine pool. I've gone ahead and picked up another big load of lumber. So we've got more 2x8x16s and then a bunch of 2x8x12s. These are actually going to be our floor joists. as well as a couple more of those concrete pier bases and some more 4x4 pressure treated for our posts. We're now officially at $1,600 in lumber, and that's still not enough for the entire thing of framing lumber. This is just like enough to keep me going, and then I'll reevaluate as we get close, and then the next load of actual like framing lumber should be pretty small, and then we got to move on to the Trex, which is going to be the most expensive part of all of this. We are slowly but surely making progress. We're waiting on Papa Rhino to bring the concrete so we can set the rest of the posts on that backside, but we're pretty close. We just got to kind of straighten out that center post right there, but we're pretty close to getting ready to actual floor joist this section right here. We do still need to do the other side. I guess we can do that while we wait, because everything is sitting on those pier blocks that is close to the pool. This one we locked in. We'll fill that with concrete once Papa Rhino shows up with the other pallet. Papa Rhino has arrived. We've got another pallet of concrete in the beautiful 450. We'll get them transferred to the tractor. Now, we did run into a little bit of an issue. I just measured, because when we set all these, the pool was folded down, and we were just kind of guessing, which is why I really didn't want to start doing this until the pool was up. However, couldn't just sit around staring and watching a pool fill up for 2 days. So we're about 2 inches, if you go from the back of here to the edge of the pool, there's like a 2-inch difference to where this side's a little further away from the edge of the pool, because I mean, and even then you can still see there's like a little bobble in the top rail. So our measurements could be pretty close, but the top of the frame's doing something a little funky. I knew we weren't going to be exact. I mean, we're talking a soft-sided pool. If you look down the center right here, you can see this little bobble in the middle as well. The pool water can come up probably about 2 more inches, which might push that out a little bit, but it's a soft-sided pool. There's gonna be some weirdness to it. We're gonna use the framings to kind of just visually make it somewhat look straight. The guys are taking lunch right now. We're making sure everybody takes tons of breaks, because it is still hot out here. We're still in a heat wave, which is why everything's kind of taking so long. We want to keep taking breaks every once in a while. Okay, well, I didn't end up filming a ton today because it was pretty repetitive of what we've been doing the last couple of days, but we've managed to get this portion just pretty much completely done. I think I'm just going to leave these as a single 2x8. We're only spanning 3 feet really in between there, 3.5 feet or so. It's like 4 foot something overall, but we've got bigger issues, and I've been stressed, and that's also why I haven't really been filming much today. One of you guys had mentioned it after the last video went live, but by then, you know, things are too late. And I had a feeling, you know, filling this with our well, it's a lot of water you're drawing out. But the good news is we have 2 wells. And so the first day we were just kind of drawing off the first one, and we were filling it up over the course of like 3 or 4 days. It's not like we were letting it run just 24/7. We'd let it run a little bit during the daytime, shut it off when it got dark, and yada yada. However, we're having issues with both wells right now. And I've called a bunch of well people. Nobody calls me back. I don't know what we're gonna do. This one's kind of scary. Not only is it big money, but obviously water is very important out here. Hence why we even did this, just to have water storage ready for an emergency. But yeah, we might have screwed up pretty royally, but we're gonna find out. Hopefully one of these well guys ends up calling me back, and we can have somebody come out here and check on some stuff, because I just do not know. It is above my head. I've done everything I can think of. I don't know, guys. I'm super stressed, so hopefully by the next video I'll have some answers. I don't know. Other than that, things are looking great. You know, just might be showering, bathing, cooking, doing all kinds of stuff with this water. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching this crazy freaking life of mine that always takes all kinds of random twists and turns. Oh man, if you have not already, please give this video a like, a thumbs up. You maybe watch this video like 3 or 4 times, let some ads play, so you know I can make a couple of bucks to hopefully afford some well repairs. Also, if you would be so kind as to check out workforapparel.com, get some sweet apparel, beef jerky, hats, keychains, hitch covers, rock lights. Well, we got all kinds of really cool stuff, all promoting blue collar work. Workforapparel.com. You guys are the best. Wish me luck. I'm out.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.